Good evening. I'm Roberta Parks. I'm with the League Women Voters of Greater Peoria. And I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight on behalf of the League, the Pekin Public Libraries. You can't hear me? That's unusual for me. Okay, so I'm Roberta Parks. I'm with the League of Women Voters of the Greater Peoria area, and I'd like to welcome you tonight on behalf of the League, the Pekin Public Library, the Pekin Area Chamber of Commerce, and the Dirksen Center. So the four of us are jointly putting this on, and there'll be another event that Tiffany will talk about at the break between this forum and the Mayor's Forum. Again, we are very happy to have you here. Just a little plug for the League, since I'm the one running this. We are a nonpartisan membership organization. This is, I think, the second time we've done a candidate forum in my history with the League here in Pekin. But we do them in East Peoria, we've done them in Dunlap, Washington, Peoria. So we are doing a total of 7 forums this year for this race, and we had requests for 2 more that we simply didn't have the capacity to do. So the League never supports individual candidates. We do take positions on issues after a significant study, but we don't support candidates or parties. We hope you come away from this forum with a little bit more knowledge and as a better informed voter when you vote, either anytime between now and Election Day, April 4th, whenever you decide to vote. With that, I'd like to introduce our moderator tonight, and that's Shelley Epstein. Some of you may remember Shelley from when it is time as an editorial writer at the Journal Star. So with that, I'll turn it over to Shelley. He'll run through the rules, and we'll get started.
Good evening. Glad to see you all. Glad you're here and interested in your community. And thanks, Rob, for putting this on. I have 2 requests for you. One is to be as quiet as possible so we can hear the candidates. And 2, to join the League of Women Voters. It's a great organization. Tonight we have 8 candidates before you. There are 3 seats they're going to be vying for. Tonight's candidates they drew lots for who goes first and second. So I'm going to introduce them closer to me, to the other end of the room. If I butcher your name, I apologize. Josh Hafliger, John Abel, Jim Mangan, Robert Jaskiewics. Okay, I've been studying. Karen Hohimer, Rick Hilst, Jacob Brisbin, and Matt Johnson. Prior to the start of the forum, I drew names for that. I said that Josh is going to go first. Here are the rules for how this is going to work. Before I begin that, telephones, everyone have a phone? Pretend you're in a movie theater and turn it off, please. When candidates answer questions, please do not applaud, boo, hiss, or make other sound. At the end of the evening, we can cheer them all for what they're doing here. The candidates will have 2 minutes for an opening statement, and each candidate will have 1 minute to answer the questions, some of which the League developed and some which you have developed. I'm going to try to certainly get to those. And then at the end, each candidate will have 1 minute to a close. We have a mayoral forum starting here at 7:30. You're all invited. But that means we've got a hard stop at this forum, 7:10, 7:15. So we're going to be pretty rigorous, candidates, about the time limit. So I apologize in advance for interrupting, but that's how we're going to do this. We have timers sitting in the front row. Timer and paddle. Okay? And if waving their paddle doesn't get your attention, they're instructed to hit you with it. So please stop when the paddle gets to 0. For the audience, we have question collectors. Where are question collectors? Over there and over there. So if you have questions now, they have 3x5 cards. Fill them out. They'll get them to me, and we'll be on the way. So it'll be great. We're not going to ask all the questions that you would like, or all the questions that we would like, but we'll do the best we can. That's all we can do. Okay? So, are we ready to begin, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. In your opening statement, you have 2 minutes, and I have a request, besides staying within your time. Please introduce yourselves and tell us the first question I asked candidates when they came to see us at the Journal-Star. Why are you running? It's all yours.
My name is Josh Hafliger, and I'm a lifelong resident of Pekin, and I am running for more positive Pekin. I want to thank the Women's League of Voters, the Chamber of Commerce, the Dirksen Center, and the library for putting this on, and all the volunteers that go with it. I also want to thank my supporters, my family, and especially my wife. She is, next to God, she is my rock. So I was starting to prepare this opening statement, and I texted a friend of mine, and I said, you know, this is kind of outside of my comfort zone. And she gave me some advice, and that was speak what you're passionate about. And so the thing that I am most passionate about is the city of Pekin. And in the city of Pekin, I am passionate about the businesses, the residents, the affordability to live, our poverty rate going up, the condition of our roads, but especially supporting our businesses. Our businesses bring jobs. They bring life to the city, into empty buildings. We have so much potential in the city, and there are some great things going on. And city politics seem to get in the way of good people doing good things in the city. And I want to try to help change that. Thank you.
Thank you, Josh.
We have request that you stand when you speak. People in the back of the room can't see your head, so when you speak, please stand up and turn it up. Choke up on the mic.
Good evening, I'm John Abel. I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having us tonight. And I'm running for one reason, again, to push the people of Pekin and the city of Pekin itself in a more positive attitude, kill this negativity we've got tied in this town. And we've got a lot of good things coming down the road. I want to get back to what it was a year ago, not quite a year ago. Every grant we applied for, we got. There were plenty of good things happening. Okay. Like I said, we were applying for every grant we applied for, we got. We had developers coming into town wanting to do new businesses, and that all came to silence. But unexplainably to the public, our city manager was terminated. And it's been quiet and no communication hardly at all since then. That's got to change, get back to the way it was, a positive forward momentum on attitude. Like I said, I've been a lifelong Pekin resident. Grew up about 2 blocks from here, 3rd and Washington Street. Spent 4 years in the Air Force, spent 30 years in the Pekin Fire Department. Very proud of that. I think we need to keep experience on this council. We've lost so much experience with the mayor gone and city manager gone, and the unusually a large amount of staff leaving. So we've got to get back to positivity and keep experience in here, keep the remaining staff we've got. We've got some excellent employees, and I hope you remember to vote April the 4th on the first name on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Jim?
Good evening. My name is Jim Mangan. Some of you know me. Some of you have heard of me. Running for council, primarily to bring better results for taxpayers at City Hall. I believe residents should be treated as customers by city officials, not dollars.
There you go. Closer. There you go.
My obligation will be for the public's team, protecting their interest. I will push for semi-annual public surveys to get your input on what you think the city of Pekin should be running like. I believe in the 3 T's. Trust and transparency will bring trust, just truth and transparency will bring trust back to City Hall. Council members should practice the 5 W's of the whys of city business: the what, the when, the where, and the who's. Secret executive sessions should be the exception, not the norm. City Hall spending should reflect what Pekin residents can afford and want. Facts and logic must be the key factors of council decisions, not theories or emotions. I'm a retired Caterpillar worker. I was a quality analyst. I understand how to ask questions, what questions are important. Sorry about that. I'm not a professional speaker either. But I think my 38 years at Caterpillar as a quality analyst, dissecting problems has taught me things that I should help you with.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Robert Jaskiewics. I go by Bob. I'm married to Linnea. I'll be 40 years in August. We have 5 kids, 2 from a previous marriage and 3 from this one, all out of the house, so I don't have to worry about them. I'm a business owner. We deal with the world of finance, so I know how to read budgets, how to deal with finances, how to manage people, and so on. I'm very active in the community of Pekin. I'm probably the newest member of Pekin here. We moved here in 2020, and we came here from the village of Bolingbrook, where I was a trustee over there as well. But since I came to Pekin, I'm an active member of the Pekin Rotary Club. I'm active in the Pekin Chamber of Commerce. I'm chairperson for the Pekin 2023 Friends of Scouting this year. I'm also on the United Way Finance Committee. So you see that I got myself involved with the city. I'm running for a seat on the city council because the current group of elected officials have not provided the vision to grow and develop our wonderful city into a model other cities will want to duplicate. We have the basis for being a great city, not a mediocre city. We need both short and long-term goals and a solution for our problems with infrastructure, which includes our streets and sidewalks, and an economic development plan that is effective and working. I would like to fill the vacancies that we have in town with payable living wage jobs. And I want to start an incubator as well, working with the chamber so that entrepreneurs in town can begin new businesses and get the support they need for that. I appreciate your help. Please vote for me. I go forth.
Thanks, Bob. Karen?
Good evening, I'm Karen Hohimer, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for having us tonight. I, of course, am running for re-election because I think we're in the middle of doing some good things for this community, and I want to continue on that road. I've lived in Pekin all my life. I was born at Pekin Hospital. My parents lived on 14th Street, and then we moved to Howard Court. Don and Rose Hassler were our neighbors right behind us for many years. I went to Wilson School, Washington Junior High, Pekin High School. I graduated from ICC, I graduated from Bradley, and I graduated from ISU with my master's degree in reading. I taught elementary school in Peoria for over 20 years. I was married for over 34 years. My husband died suddenly. We have one son, and he is an Air Force Afghan veteran who is married with 2.5 sons. I have my 3rd grandson on the way in the end of May, and I'm a member of the Grace Methodist Church. I was a Pekin High School school board member for 14 years, and I resigned my position when I was elected to City Council. I also sat on the board of Habitat for Humanity for several years and the Illinois Valley Fuller Center with a focus on veterans. I sit on the Salvation Army Board. I'm a past union vice president of the Peoria School District 150, and I've been on Pekin Pekin City Council for almost 4 years. I'm utilizing my vast network and relationship with developers and community leaders to continue the future of Pekin. So please vote for me.
Rick? Got that mic? Yep, no, that's fine. It's working. Stand up, please.
I think it's already on.
Good evening. My name is Rick Hilst. I'm a lifelong resident of the city of Pekin, and I'm running for a second term on the city council. I thought I knew a lot when I first got elected to the city council. However, the last 4 years have been eye-opening, as everything is not always what it appears on the surface, and sometimes things are more complex than you realize. When I was elected in 2019, my top priority was the condition of our streets and infrastructure. That has not changed for me, with the exception we are now 3 years behind on our audit reports. So that would also be a top priority to get caught up on those reports. Other topics of concern on my list include how the TIF and BDD funds are being spent, the good old boy system and behind the scene handshake deals need to stop, and we need to start being more transparent. The homeless is another concern we need to keep an eye on. The homeless population is growing and causing more negative impacts in and on our community. With all that being said, getting things done and moving things forward cannot be accomplished on an individual level. It has to be accomplished on a collective level, meaning no matter what someone thinks or how someone votes, it takes at least 4 people sitting on the city council to approve or deny an agenda item. We need to listen and do what's best for the residents and taxpayers of our community, and remember and stay focused on who we truly represent. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Jacob Brisbin, grab the mic. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and I want to first off start off by saying thanks to the League of Women Voters, the Pekin Chamber of Commerce, the Pekin Public Library as well, and the Dirksen Center for getting this together for us. I am running for Pekin City Council because I believe in a brighter future for Pekin. I believe that we deserve an honest and accountable government that's working hard to repair our crumbling infrastructure, grow our economy, and also work to promote historic preservation. I am proud to be a Pekinite. My local roots run deep. I've got 6 generations here in Tazewell County. After college in Florida, I graduated with my bachelor's in public relations, and I moved back here. I currently work locally for a financial firm. I'm also very actively involved in the community. I've served as a Pekin Township trustee, where I helped get local needy residents in connection with vital state assistance grants. I currently serve on the Pekin Beautification Committee. We're actively involved in improving this community, most recently at the Pocket Park downtown. That's a great example of bringing local stakeholders together to really affect real change for our community, and I hope to continue in that capacity moving forward. I'm involved in the Pekin Lions Club. We do all sorts of great things, including we just finished our 75th annual Christmas baskets for needy folks for food. And additionally, I'm really involved at my local church here, St. Paul's Episcopal Church, where I serve on the board. I believe that we need a fresh voice at the city decision table to help build consensus and move us forward in a positive direction. And I really appreciate your consideration this evening. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jacob. Matt Johnson.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Matthew Johnson. I'm council candidate number 6. I've been a resident of Pekin for 41 years. I graduated Pekin High School in class of 1997. And from there, I did the ICC thing. I got an associate's degree in mechanical design. And then from there, I transferred to Bradley, and I have a bachelor's degree in manufacturing. I've currently been employed with Caterpillar Incorporated since 2001, where I've kind of bounced around in basically a bunch of engineering type roles. I'm running for Pekin City Council primarily because I want to represent the citizens of Pekin. Over the last 4 years, we've become stagnant. It's time for us to change things, and change is only going to come from outside the current chamber. I'm running to be a change agent. If elected, I will bring facts and data-driven decision-making skills along with some good old-fashioned common sense to the chamber. I will bring transparency by being a public-friendly council member, which means I will listen to you and not just hear you. If elected, your problems become my problems, and essentially those problems become the city manager's problems. It's time to start protecting our tax dollars, and that is done by creating goals for the city manager, prioritizing things that the city truly needs. For example, let's write a goal around fixing the roads and fixing them right. Let's write a goal around requiring public bid openings within 24 hours of bid closings, and that includes proposals. I don't like word games, and that's going to stop. Change can happen, but we need to harness it. So please join me. We can do this, but I need you before I can help you. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthew. First question is going to go to John Abel, and we're going to go down the list. I ask you all to be specific. What city services would you like to improve, and how would you pay for them, or what need to be reduced or eliminated? Mr. Abel.
Well, since we talk about infrastructure and streets all the time, our street department, it's finally, we gained 3 people in the last 2 years. It's been 10 for years and years, and it's the biggest it's ever been. And any of them will tell you, compared to cities, to other cities, there should be about 27 people working down there, not 13. So that would help our infrastructure keep up and keep the day-to-day maintenance better than it is. That should definitely be improved of any department we got.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Jim Mangan. Remember, folks, hold the mic as close to your mouth as you can.
I too would like to see streets improved. I went through the budget recently, the last few days, and I discovered that we're spending more, really twice as much, on parking lots, city parking lots downtown, than we are on city streets that you folks drive on consistently. The parking lots are important, but if you stop and think how much the parking lots get used compared to the streets that you drive on, it's a shame that we haven't put more resources, tax dollars that you pay, into actual street repairs. That's it.
Thank you, Jim. Bob Mankiewicz. Bob.
They've already mentioned streets and sidewalks, so I'm not even going to touch on that, but that is a priority. The other priority I have is for bringing in new businesses, new jobs that are livable wage type jobs, not the minimum wage type jobs. And the idea of the incubator, if you know what that is working with entrepreneurs and local business people or local people who want to start their own business, and they need help, they need support, they need to know how to file, how to incorporate, how to run their business. And a good incubator with the help of the chamber will allow us to do that. So there's resources in this town that we can grow our business community, and it'll benefit everybody.
Thank you. Karen Hohimer.
Well, I agree with everyone else. I do want to say that my personal feelings are we need to work on infrastructure. You have to start inside first. We have sewers that are literally falling apart. We've got to start there before we can get a new road on top of a sewer that's decaying. So we need to update our infrastructure. We need to get that ready, get the new roads in. With the new roads, we're going to get business. We're going to get people moving into Pekin. So let's start with the basics. Let's start with infrastructure.
Rick Hilst.
So I'll agree on the streets and infrastructure. Obviously, that's my top priority on what we need to focus on. And I will also hit on the second part of that question as far as what we could eliminate or cut costs on. I think we need to focus on our core services, which in my opinion would be safety services, police and fire, and back to the streets and infrastructure. So therefore, I think we need to take a hard look at letting private companies take over the garbage and letting the schools take back over the bus service. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob, Brisbin?
Thank you. And definitely, I do feel that we are understaffed when it comes to the streets department here in this community. We are the second most populous municipality in the region after Peoria itself. And we really need to make sure that we have the staffing levels to match what we need to accomplish here in town. But also, I would like to say that the economic development aspect, that's important. We need to have people that are in a position full-time working nonstop on economic development. We don't know a full-time economic development director or staff. I think that that would be really great. You know, people say, oh, you may not be able to afford that. Well, I say we can't not afford to do it because that is so important. When we start boosting the economy and getting economic growth, that's going to bring in tax dollars and help to grow our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger? I'm sorry, Matt Johnson?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to jump on the roads because that's a priority of mine. We have enough money in the budget to actually fix the roads. It's about goal planning, and we just don't really have any goal sessions that I've seen in the last 4 years with the current city council, with the city manager to say, hey, we got to prioritize the roads and just fix them and fix them right. And if we're struggling to find money in the budget to do that, we can just get out of the garbage business altogether because that's just a service that the city shouldn't be in at all.
Thank you. And last, Josh Hafliger.
I will jump on the bandwagon with the streets and the street department and economic development. Absolutely. I think the one thing we need to take a look at is our department heads and why we cannot attract good department heads, or we have some great department heads right now, but why we can't fill those vacancies. So I think focusing on our streets and roads is very, very important, but to have the staff to support each one of those services is very important. I've talked to the police chief, I've talked to the fire chief, great guys, but they're understaffed, and so we don't have a city manager. We need to focus on that and to get things moving. So we need some management up top to fill those positions.
Thank you. Next question, we're going to start with Jim Mangan. Let's get him a microphone. Should Pekin continue with a city manager form of government? If yes, why? If no, what would you prefer to replace it?
As I've said several times and on my brochure, I'm not pleased with the city manager form of government personally, but I think you folks should decide. I believe that there should be a referendum to repeal city manager form of government and home rule. I've been here through the old commissioner type form of government. I thought the city manager idea was good at this time, but facts have proven to me that the manager form of government and home rule is not good for people.
Thank you. Bob?
I'm for the city manager form of government for one main reason. You can elect a mayor and have the mayor run the city, but if you elect a mayor that doesn't have the skills, the people skills, the budgeting skills, or anything like that, because you don't know who's running. And if they don't have the skills to run the city, you're going to have a problem in 4 years. Where if you can select the proper city manager and choose the skills and interview those people and hire the right person, you're going to be a lot further ahead by having somebody that has the knowledge and professionalism to run the city.
Thank you. Karen Hohimer?
I believe in the manager form of government and home rule. Just remember, with home rule, we get to make the decisions. If we don't have home rule, Springfield makes the decisions for our community. So you need to understand what home rule means and what it doesn't mean.
Thank you. Rick Hilst?
My personal opinion on that is I would rather see a city administrator form of government. And the reason for that is that would give a little bit more power and a little bit more authority to each individual council member when we get complaints from our constituents, whether that be from issues in the public or issues in certain departments. You could have certain council members in charge of different departments where they could go down and address those issues more directly than doing it strictly through the city manager. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Brisbin?
Thank you. I am in favor of the council management form of government. It does work effectively for other municipalities, Peoria, Galesburg. It can work effectively for us as well. It's a partnership, right? The council is involved here, and we need to be able to get along and to work well with others and to collaborate. And I do think that it's important to have a professional who's running things. Again, the buck stops with the city council. The city manager doesn't just get carte blanche and get to do whatever he wants. It is, or whatever she may want. We have to make those decisions. We have the final say in the matter. So I do think that it's effective. It works for others. It can work better here. We just need to collaborate better. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Johnson?
Yeah, I'm certainly not a fan of management form of government, but unfortunately it's here. It's what we have and we need to embrace it. It's going to take a referendum to actually get it switched over to say a mayoral form of government, or one like East Peoria does, which is the elected commissioners form. So right now, because it's here, we just got to embrace it, and you do that by essentially hiring the right individual, and that starts with the right city council to do that, to bring the right skill set to the table and into that individual that is hired.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger?
I am for the city management form of government. If you bring in the right city manager, they have the professionalism, they have the knowledge to run the city. Like Matt said, the city manager can't, or Jacob said, the city manager cannot run carte blanche. The council has the final say. So I'm in favor of city management.
Thank you. John Abel?
I'm in favor of the city manager form of government. We had one, I've been on council with all but one city manager we've ever had. We just got rid of the best one we ever had. Communication skills, training. He wasn't anybody's yes man. That's probably the problem. But he was highly respected on his peers around Central Illinois, and they all told me when he left, he said, "You just lost the best city manager in Central Illinois." I think it's a better way of doing it. I don't care to have every vote we got to do. Got to check the Springfield if you want to get rid of home rule. That's what you're going to do. Any kind of bill or anything you want to buy, raises, all goes through Springfield. Talk to the towns under 25,000. They can't become home rule. They love to be home rule. Thank you.
Okay, so that takes care of question number 2. We'll start the next thing with Robert, whose last name I can't pronounce very well. So I understand that there's been some difficulty on the city council from what you folks are saying. City manager was fired, mayor went home and didn't come back. So there's some info. That's fair. So the question is, how can you bring professionalism back to the city council? And what is your recommendation to have the city council working as a unit and not individuals?
That's a perfect question for me because I run as a common sense candidate. And I believe I can bring people together as a team to move forward, set short and long-term goals and practices. But for that to happen, I also think we need some new people on the council. And you got some good quality new candidates running that will bring new perspective, new ideas on the problems that we have. and new ways to look at things. If we do that and combine that with the people that are there already, I think we'll have a strong team. We can do some long-term planning for these roads, like you said. We need to set some priorities on the roads. We haven't done that. And we just need new people.
Thank you. Karen Hohimer?
For the first 2 years that I was on the city council, almost every vote was 7-0 or 7-1. We had a great working relationship. Things went very well. They started to deteriorate after the second year. And unfortunately, it became a who's got the super majority, who's got 4, who's got 3 votes, instead of working together and trying to decide what's best for the people of our community. It was, I got you, and we can't have that. It's got to be what's best for the people of this community, not what's best for that person. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Hilst?
I'm going to answer that pretty shortly and quickly, that you have to push your personal feelings aside when you're making decisions for the entire city, and you need to communicate. Thank you.
Jacob Brisbin?
Okay, there we go. Definitely communication is key. You have to be able to build relationships with people. You don't have to agree on every issue just because it's, 7-1 decision, whatever. That doesn't always mean it's the best decision. But we need to be able to build those relationships. Remember, we're all human beings. We're all members of this city, and we need to get along and do what's right for our community. I do have a background. I have served as a trustee in Pekin Township. I've had to deal with other people you may not agree with on every issue, but at the end of the day, you have to build consensus and make the decision that's right for the community. I do believe that new voices on the city council will help to make that happen. We said back the same folks, we're going to get the same results. We need some new voices at the table to build consensus and move our community forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Johnson?
Yeah, it's essentially going to come down to collaboration and communication. So coming at this this election, I bring a skill set, having worked on multiple project teams at Capital Incorporated, to bring a lot of different mindsets, different diversities, different backgrounds, to come together as a team lead and bring all those individuals together for one common goal. And in the private sector with Caterpillar, it's obvious about designing engines, but in the public sector, it's going to be about what the citizens want and what's best for the community moving forward. And so that's a skill set I will bring, is basically open and transparent communication and collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger?
So I believe that we are looking for that gotcha moment. Everybody wants that gotcha moment where the person that didn't vote with you one time, you're looking for that gotcha moment. And we're too busy looking for the gotcha moment to do city business and to focus on what's really important in the city. And that's fixing our infrastructure and putting a positive light on the city. We have trouble hiring city staff because they can see our council meetings online and they don't want anything to do with it. So stopping the infighting, communicating, and just opening our ears and listening to each other. There is common ground everywhere. You just got to find it.
John Abel?
Yes, we do have some problems there, and it goes back to a certain time, less than a year ago. Look at it. We've lost HR, we've lost economic development, we've lost public works. Why are they leaving? No leadership, plain and simple. We lost a very good leader. They were all staying. We never lost 4 and 5 department heads in 1 year, never that I can remember. And they've left for one reason. That's the same thing. We've got to work together, let the city manager run the operation like he was, and things will change again. But we've got to get a good city manager. Some of the ones that applied to come have now canceled out. They see what's happening in Pekin, Illinois. They don't want no part of it. We've got to change the image of this town and start working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, we're gonna start the next question with Karen Hohimer. Right? And the question is this: you folks have made reference to homeless. So what would you do specifically to address the homeless issue? And as a larger issue, how would you address increasing poverty in town? Poverty. More people are poor.
Oh. First of all, I think that the Pekin Outreach Initiative is doing a fantastic job helping the homeless situation in Pekin. We're talking with mental health people. We're talking about job coaching. Greg Ranny down at the Pekin Outreach is doing a fantastic job. I think that Pekin has done a great job. The Salvation Army helps out. We all need to remember that homeless people have rights too. So we can't just say, we don't want you in our town. They have every right to be here. This is not a, can't be here. They have every right. So we need to help them find a way to be successful in our community, to increase the, or drop the poverty rate. I'm not really sure what that question was, but I would say bringing better jobs to the community.
Rick Hilst?
So that's a tricky question when it comes to the homeless situation. There are rules and regulations and rights that everybody has. I think one of the things we need to do is engage more with those people, find out what their situation is, why they're homeless, are they choosing to be homeless, have they been kicked out of their house, are they addicted to drugs, find out what the main reasons are why they're in that situation, and get some advice from our municipal attorneys on what the appropriate steps are we can take within the legal realm of that. And I'll just leave it at that.
Thank you. Jacob Brisbin?
Thank you. So looking at this issue, we have to look at what the root cause is. Why is there an increase in poverty? What's the problem here? A lot of times, you look at it, it's addiction. Okay, it's not a secret that we struggle in this community with addiction, and we need to find real solutions to that. And one of the things is collaboration with law enforcement and coming up with new creative ways. We have a fantastic police department in this community, and I support very strongly. I thought it's really great. It's a service excellence on the side of our police vehicles that really rings true in this community. I know that working together, we can find solutions. I know that the police department has been successful in some of their programs working to end that. We have to end the cycle of addiction to really get to the root cause of poverty. And we have some great folks. We just need to work together to find some new innovative solutions to our problems. Thank you.
Matt Johnson?
Yeah, that is certainly a difficult question. You basically got to go back to to what Jacob said, the root cause. There's some underlying condition here that is driving these individuals to be homeless, and it's not for just one candidate to stand up here and give you an answer. It's going to take a community effort. It's going to take the entire council to do it. It's going to take the city staff to do it. And I'm just going to have to leave it at that. It's a community effort. And if they truly are breaking the law, then you just have to prioritize the police force to arrest them and put them in jail for a couple nights. And then maybe by sheer luck, the word will get out that, hey, don't come to Pekin and break the law, because you'll end up in jail. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger?
So I recently attended a downtown meeting where the police chief and the deputy chief came in and talked about the homeless problem, because downtown businesses are very concerned. And from listening to them, they do an excellent job of interacting with the homeless, to the deputy chief and the police chief. In their eyes, not speaking for them, but from what I got out of it, it's a mental health, it's an addiction, and we need to set up services. And they're working with multiple different communities. They're working with multiple different agencies to get these people the help they need, and that if they want it, but they have to want it. As far as the poverty rate goes, I think we need to bring better paying jobs and businesses into town. That's the solution for that. Is you have a better paying job in town, your poverty rate goes down.
John Abel?
Well, whether it's Eureka and Woodford County or Pekin and Tazewell County, we're the county seat. That's where all the programs are to help the homeless. It can't be because of jobs. There's jobs everywhere, whether they don't want to work or what, if it's a mental illness or what. But the problem I see is when parents are afraid to take their kids to a park because there's somebody sleeping on a bench near the playground, which happens right here in Beacon, day after day after day, winter, summer, it don't matter. It's gotten worse and worse. I've heard it from a lot of parents. That is a police problem. They should not be allowed to sleep where kids can go and play and enjoy themselves with their parents. That's got to stop. And as far as putting them in jail, I don't know if that would help or not. But there's got to be a way of, maybe, I always see the Mardell Manor sitting empty. Somebody could take it, and that would put some people in overnight housing for homeless people. But when parents are afraid to take their kids to a park, that's bad.
Jim Mangan, I skipped you for the last question, so we're going to finish this one, and I'm going to come back to you for the last question. I know. Yeah, why don't you address this question, please?
I'm not a sociologist. I'm not sure what to do about homeless people as far as, I don't think it's the council's job necessarily to solve that problem for individual homeless people. But I believe that the law enforcement should make sure that the homeless people are not I'm trying to think of the right word, not bothering the neighborhoods where the children are at. As far as poverty, I would say what the council could do to stop poverty is to be more efficient with their taxing dollars.
I think Karen hit it on the head with the Pekin Outreach. They do a great job. I volunteered there. I volunteered there several times, and I think we need more people within this community to volunteer at Pekin Outreach so you can learn about the homeless. They're doing a great job finding jobs for these people, for those who can handle a job. But there is a lot of mental illness among those people that they just can't work. They wouldn't be able to get along with the people working next to them. So, but there's also a haphazard system throughout the community supporting the homeless with churches and so on and so on. And we need to organize that. We need to get a better structure there. But there are a lot of things, positive things going to start handling the homeless problem here in Pekin.
Thank you, Bob. Jim, you want to address the question about whether you support the city manager, and if not? Did you answer the city manager question?
It was
City manager.
Professionalism, that was the question. About the strife on the city council. What would you do to bring professionalism to the city council? You didn't want to answer.
Well, I don't know that there's a lack of professionalism on the city council. I think there's disagreements. When you people vote for council members, you don't vote for a team, you vote for individuals. And if one or two or more council members don't agree, that's just the way it works. And the majority rules. So that's, I don't think there's any lack of professionalism as far as, other than maybe too many secret meetings that some council members aren't invited to.
Okay, good deal. Next question, we're gonna start with Rick Hilst. Some in the community are concerned about junk and trash in the front yards, not looking very nice and diminishing property values. How would you address that? And is the answer a code enforcement department? And if so, how would you pay for it? What's that a higher priority then?
So junk and trash in your front yard, I think it would start with the people that live there, whether they're renters, whether they're the property owners. If you can't take enough pride in your property, you go out and pick up some junk and keep your yard nice. It doesn't cost a lot of money. Whether you live in a $40,000 house or a $400,000 house, you can certainly keep your grass mowed, you can keep your yard picked up, and you can make your yard and neighborhood look nice. If it gets to the point where you don't feel you need to do that and you just continue to let it get that way, that does become a nuisance from your neighbors. Certainly you don't want to come out and look at your neighbor's yard and see that every day. So then you're going to get to the point where you're going to get some ordinance tickets issued from code enforcement, and that would be the next appropriate step. In order to fund that, that would be discussed during budget talks.
Jacob Brisbin.
Thanks. So we do have a code enforcement department, and I know both of the two individuals that are there. So again, with a city our size, we have two folks that are really spread thin on that. So we do have ordinances in place. You can certainly take a look and see how we could strengthen those. But again, it does come down to we are understaffed at the city, and so if there's an issue with that, people need to understand that we need to have more staff, and we can start to tackle some of these issues. That is part of the issue there. As far as funding is concerned, we do have a very complex budget. And so it is important to take a look line by line and see where we can cut some of that fat, some of the waste, and put that towards things that are more important, like maintaining a more beautiful community by enforcing our laws that are currently on the books and having more staff to help out. Thank you.
Matt Johnson.
Yeah, trash in your yard is not the most ideal thing to look at every morning. Basically, we do have ordinances in place for reasons such as this, but I'm not in agreement that the first thing you should do is run out and start finding people. I think problems can be solved with just simple communication. Just knock on the door and talk to that individual and say, hey, what's going on with all this? I mean, are you down on your luck? Can you not afford, the $10 stickers now that the city requires just to haul away a couch or a sink or something like that that's been sitting there for a couple weeks? So yeah, just if it becomes a repeat offender, then yeah, you would have to just go the find them and see if that resolves the situation. But I think first is just knock on the door and let's have a conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger.
As far as code enforcement goes, we do have two individuals that run code enforcement. I do think that needs to be beefed up a little bit. I think you start, like Matt said, with a conversation and a warning. I know Peoria does a 5-day warning type of thing where you got 5 days to clean up the mess. If you don't, then they're going to turn it into a work order and they hire a contractor to come out and do it for you, and they bill you appropriately. I think that form seems to work. There's an electronic system based with it, so it's not just a sticker on the door that blows off the door when the wind is blowing. You're informed via email, text. There's an electronic system that goes with it. So investors in the community can know what's going on with their property. And if that sticker or whatever, that door hanger blew off, then the individual knows as well. Gave them plenty of warning, and you can clean up the property.
John Abel.
Like's been said before, we do have two people on code enforcement. They're doing a fantastic job for two people. I know for a fact if you give them an address, they'll go check it out within a day or two, because I've done it many times. Do we need more of them? Yes, but I kind of like what Peoria does sometimes. They'll take all their inspectors, hit one area, and just go through it in 1 day or two and write up all the violations and cover one complete section. You don't do it all the time, but it's something to do if you've got one area that's a little bit more junky looking yards than some. They'll just go in and write up everything that's an offense or a violation for the city and give me appropriate paperwork. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim Mangan?
I pretty much agree with what Mr. Abel just said. I think there should be a concentrated effort, maybe neighborhood by neighborhood, to try to communicate with citizens that seem to have a problem. I remember when I moved to Pekin back in '69, working class community, but it was a clean community. But gradually, because of prioritizing code enforcement or the lack of, it's gotten out of hand. I think maybe we need also an outside garbage service that isn't afraid to pick up mattresses and couches instead of letting them sit for 2 or 3, 4 days or weeks. So I think there's some things the city hall could do. That's it.
Bob J?
You tell me I gotta get the mattress and the fridge out of my front yard? Everybody mentioned code enforcement, so I'm not gonna worry about that part of it. But the poverty that we have in this town probably is part of the reason you see the deterioration of some of the neighborhoods and some of those things. Those issues have to be addressed as well, not just code enforcement. And neighbors have to help other neighbors out and take the time to say, hey, can I help you get rid of this appliance, or can I help you do something else? It's not just code enforcement's problem, it's all our problem. And we need to make it a group problem.
Thank you. Karen Hohimer?
Well, I'll start out with going down by Corn Products. I stopped at a house where a woman needed a window air conditioner for her handicapped husband. We found her an air conditioner. She had a couch in the front yard, been sitting there for 3 months. I had it removed. I asked her, I said, it's only $10 for the sticker. She said, if I have $10, I have to buy medicine or food. She is part of the working poor. She hasn't got the resources to pay $10. I got it removed for her. When you have a situation that's not good, contact somebody, contact one of us. Somebody will come out and help you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, next question. Pekin's population has been declining. That's correct. Someone says here it's under 30,000, not including the prison population. Taxes are a burden. Jacob, we're going to start with you. The question is, would you vote not to build the 4th fire station that I guess has been approved by the council? Jacob Brisbin.
Absolutely, I'd be more than happy to speak on that. So first and foremost, one of the most important things, if not the most, is public safety. So absolutely, I unequivocally support that 4th fire station. And let me be clear too, our population is not under 30,000. That is a misnomer. It is actually a fact that the U.S. Census Bureau grossly undercounted the population of Illinois. We are one of the states that they did so. We actually grew in population. So I do believe that even if we included the prison population, we're still over 30,000 people. As such, we are the most populous municipality in this county, second in the region after Peoria. Okay, East Peoria has 10,000 fewer people than we do, and they have 4 fire stations. When we have our public safety officials coming to us, we have an excellent fire department saying, hey, we need an extra fire station to improve response times to save lives. Then I say, okay, absolutely. If we've got a community next to us with 10,000 fewer people and they've got one, I think that we can manage to do that too. When our public safety officials say we need to do these improvements to save lives, we need to do it.
Thank you. Matt Johnson?
Yeah, public safety is obviously very important. I'm gonna make it's kind of cliche at this point, but with proper facts and data, our only outcome is going to be success. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to show me, and when I mean you, I'm talking to the city manager at this point, they're going to have to show me why we need this 4th fire station. And if they can prove to me why through proper facts and data, and I'm not talking about just, calls and whatnot, I'm talking about dilapidation of buildings. I want to see structural diagrams or structural reports of the current fire station, the one that's going to be replaced, and then with all that data on the table, then you can determine yes or no if that fourth one is needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Josh Hafliger.
I do support the fourth fire station being built. I know that I've seen the facts that Jacob pointed out that we do have more than 30,000 people. We are also spreading out. The city is growing out. Response times are slow. I lived out in the country club for a while, and the country club pays the city for fire protection. And by the time they get out there, there's nothing left but a basement. So they're paying for they're paying for services that are coming late. And with the new residential development out on Broadway, I feel that it is definitely needed.
Thank you. John Abel.
You don't build fire stations for today or tomorrow. You build it for 25, 30, 40 years out. Ours were 1962 they were built. You build them for the future, not now. Pekin's going to be growing. It already has in land and city properties. The fire department you have now is a paramedic fire department. They come to your house. They're going to do everything the ambulance can do, except transport. No cost. If you're it's in your tax bill. If you're a renter and don't pay taxes in Pekin, well, you're still getting a free service. But either way, these stations are being built for the future. Our grandkids, our kids, not us today. That's just a national fact. Thank you.
Jim Mangan.
Yes, I haven't seen any data that indicates that there are problems with arrivability of fire engines to a fire. I'm not against building a fire station like on 14th Street. I think that fire station is in pretty bad shape. I think the one on Derby is in pretty bad shape. But as far as a fourth fire station, no, I don't think that we need a fourth fire station. I don't think that there's any data that shows that. East Peoria, they mentioned about how they have more fire stations. If you've been to East Peoria, which I'm sure all of you have, it's way spread out, much more than Pekin. So that's the reason they have more than what Pekin does.
Robert J.
I'm for it. I believe our first responders need the council support, the city support, and to build a great city like I want to do, we need to have good public safety programs with the police and the fire. And we got to make sure that they can do their job properly, they're well staffed, they have the funds they need, and they have the equipment they need, up-to-date equipment. And the fire stations that are run down, they do need to be improved upon, but I'm totally for the fourth fire station.
Karen Hohimer.
I did vote for the fourth fire station. It's very important for public safety. What's the first thing people think of when they want to move into a community? Is it safe? What's your fire department look like? What's your police department look like? We want to make sure people feel safe when they come to our community. Building that fourth fire station out on Broadway makes sense. We have urban sprawl. We may not be that much bigger, but we're more spread, bigger as far as population, but we're more spread out. And I think that the response time speaks for itself. Thank you.
Rick Hilst.
So I do not support the fourth fire station. I'll reiterate a couple other things that have been said up here already. I don't see where there's enough data to justify that. We talk about response times. We've got 2 contracts outside of the city of Pekin with Brush Hill Fire District and Powderton Fire District. We do not have to abide by those same response times to those particular outlying areas as they claim that we need to within the city. And that seems to be one of the main justifications as to why they need that fourth fire station, is because of the response times. We've got an efficiency study from 2016 that specifically says when the fire department is allowed to work out at the Parkside facility while on duty, it takes them out of their response times, and it should be eliminated. And that practice still takes place today. Thank you.
Thank you all. That wraps up the time we have for questions. So we're going to move to closing statements. And we're gonna start, we have 1 minute. We're gonna start with Matt Johnson down at the end.
Okay, so in the original Ghostbusters movie, there's a famous scene in the first act where the team gets kicked out of the university and Ray is talking to Peter. He says, hold on. He says, you've never been out of college. You don't know what it's like out there. I've worked in the private sector. They expect results. Well, having spent the last 21 years in the private sector, I can assure you with 100% certainty they expect results. There is no reason why that can't be true for the public sector as well. We should be expecting results. In fact, we should be demanding them. You achieve results through effective goal planning. Governing is choosing, governing is prioritizing. It's time to prioritize the things that matter most, things like road maintenance. Let's prioritize the roads, write a goal around road maintenance, build a project plan, budget accordingly to satisfy the goal, then execute the plan. These are the skills I will bring to the team because that is what you are voting on. You're voting on a team of people to help solve problems, and I'm a problem solver.
Thank you, Matt. Josh Hafliger.
Pekin is a great community. I've lived here my whole life. I've served here my whole life. I've watched some of our greatest fans and supporters crushed by city politics. The negative comments, the negativity has escalated in our community. I think we need to bring back the people that promote Pekin and that make Pekin a positive place. We need to open our ears, like I said earlier, and listen to each other on council. We need to bring businesses into town. No business will come into town with council the way that it is. So I'm asking for your vote on April 4th, and let's make a more positive Pekin.
John Abel.
Well, you've heard all of us talk. I'm saying with the leadership leaving the city hall in the last few months, if depending on who gets selected April the 5th, we could have the most inexperienced, youngest city council in the area. We're coming into budget sessions, young, inexperienced, and budgets is a daunting scare for any new member, but to have the majority of them young and inexperienced is not a good thing to work with Pekin's position now. Thank you.
Jim Mangan.
As with all elections, voters get what type of government that they vote for. With the right council majority, Pekin City Hall can operate more efficiently and more courteously. I believe with the return of Councilman Hilst and the addition of Matthew Johnson and myself will lead to a better public-friendly council. But that's up to the neighbors, your families, and your friends to decide on April the 4th. They talk about negative publicity. Sometimes truth is ugly. And if you're afraid of the truth, then you'll get more of it.
Thank you. Robert J.
As I mentioned earlier, we need a new group of people to help lead the city to greatness. I urge all our residents to vote for the individual that brings people skills, vision, and creativity to the job. This election should not be about politics. It should be about leadership. Do not just vote for people because you believe they're a member of one party or the other. If you do that, you're asking for the same results. You want to vote for the person in this election so we can begin to formulate short and long-term goals, develop a proactive plan of action to reach these goals. I'm here to be of service to our community, as are a few of the other candidates. We need a vote in a team of elected officials. We need to vote in a team of elected officials that want to create solutions, offer up ideas that will benefit the most and not all benefit all our residents. We need people willing to act on these ideas and solutions as well. I ask for your vote on April 4th.
Karen Hohimer.
I decided I would end this with some accomplishments and highlights. While during my tenure, we settled the ADA lawsuit. We started the Court Street renovations. We're going to be starting Derby Street this spring. We've upgraded the airport using grant money. In 2020, the Illinois Department of Transportation named our airport the state's general aviation airport of the year. We've attracted multiple new businesses, brought in over $90 million in grants, including $4 million we recently received from Darren LaHood's, with Darren LaHood's help. We navigated through COVID. We kept our businesses open. We've been resurrecting downtown with the help of Eric Reeder. We've worked tirelessly and respectfully with our city staff, which I think is so important. They are definitely the troops on the ground. We've provided individual help and direction to community members that were frustrated.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rick Hilst?
I would just like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this event on tonight. I'd like to thank everybody in the audience that showed up for this event tonight. And regardless of who you are going to vote for or who you're not going to vote for, I would just encourage everybody to please go out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Jacob Brisbin?
So I'm running for Pekin City Council because I really truly believe in this community. I live here. I see the tremendous potential that we have. We have so much potential. There's a lot of negativity out there. We truly do need to be more positive about that and work together as a community. We have real problems, but there are real actual solutions. And when we have leaders in the community bringing everyone together to achieve real actual goals, we can see a brighter future for this community. I really believe in that. And I'd ask that you consider a new direction instead of the one that we've been going on. We need a new positive direction. You have some good choices for that. I appreciate your consideration. Thank you.
Well, we're almost done. You guys have been wonderful, attentive. We very much appreciate it. Folks who run for public office, it's not so easy. Those who get elected, it's more difficult. You get a lot of abuse sometimes. So first, let's give them a round of applause. Your public service is appreciated. Now turn the mic over to Rob Parks.
I was going to take it anyway. We need to reset because the mayoral race or forum starts at 7:30. If you are watching your live streaming, we had 50 people live streaming this. We can't let any more people in this room. The head librarian said, no more, no more chairs. So if you're on the live stream, please close this out, go back to YouTube, make sure you've got our channel, and we'll start the mayoral one. It'll be on a separate stream, but it'll start at 7:30, give or take a minute or so. So thank you all for being here. You can stand up, wiggle a little bit, and give us time to reset. And Tiffany White from the Dirksen Center has a couple of